I always begin with that starting soon screen, but that means like that. where that's how soon, starting soon really is. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening around the world, and tomorrow when you watch this on the replay, hi, it's David Dorian Ross here with the cool kids. There they are. Those are the cool kids. And together, collectively, we are the Virtual Pipe Club weekly meeting. Good morning, everybody. We are also live streaming, and I just froze there for some reason. I don't know. There we go. Now I'm slowly unfreezing. That's always so embarrassing if you freeze in like not a good look for yourself, you know. So it looks like my buffer is catching up with me slowly but surely. Anyway, what I was saying is it's time for the weekly Virtual Pipe Club meeting, and we have a very special guest today and a very special topic. We are also streaming live out to Facebook and YouTube. And if you're watching out there, like Inner Snortex, Snorlax, sorry, I didn't have my glasses on, who says good morning. Suppose it's afternoon now where Inner is located. Welcome. Drop a line in and tell us who you are and where you're from.
Sorry, could you say that again?
Everybody wants to get in on the act. If you are watching over there on Facebook especially, stop that and come right on into the Zoom room. Be one of the rest of the cool kids watching over there on Facebook especially. I heard an echo of myself there.
That was me, sorry.
That was you, okay. That was our special guest, the podcast expert, who's
Look, I'm used to just talking to myself.
Well, that's me too. Or just me and the dog here. Well, so what we're going to do is we're going to get started with our weekly tradition, which is to wander around the room and talk about what we're smoking today, what we're smoking it in, and a little bit about why you like it. And I'll get started just to give you a sense of this, and then I'm going to pass it on. Meanwhile, like Dennis is doing the right thing, throw up your virtual hand if you wouldn't mind, just like that, and then I will be able to start it off, and then you'll pass the virtual pipe on to the next person. Today, I'm smoking Nutty Irishman, which I love this stuff. This is fantastic. It's fantastic in the tin. You open it up and it's immediately like an after-dinner cocktail there or something. It's a little bit of Irish cream. It's a bit of Irish cream, as it were, and it smokes very, very gently. In the club pipe from 2020, our Bones pipe here. Should I get through that pipe, I've got my newest addition from Abdul Karim. He always does such beautiful work. And I was thinking of a little pirate cake in there, just as a way of mixing that up. Anyway, that's and that's why I chose the pirate cake, because it would be very, very different from the Nutty Irishman. So rather than going on a theme, you know, how you're like, oh, I'll just kind of continue along with the kind of thing I'm smoking, I'm just going to radically change it. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I'm going to pass the virtual pipe to my buddy Sergio. And what are you smoking, sir, and why?
Thank you very much, David. Hello, everyone. Good morning, evening, good afternoon. I'm here in Mexico in my home. And today, my first tobacco that I picked this morning, here it's still 11 a.m. And this is one of my favorites, Virginia Periques, Solani 633. This one. I love this vapor. I get a nice sweet Virginia flavor always, and very consistent. And I smoke it on this. This is a Castello Virgin shape 31. I love this pipe. This is totally one of my favorite shapes. Slightly bent and big ball. Kind of hard for me to. And smokes great. And so this is my first ball of this morning. And I haven't picked what's going to be the next one. I don't know it yet. But after I see all the tobaccos you guys are going to share, I might pick my second one. But so far, I haven't even think about it. But very nice to see everyone here. And I'm going to pass it to Randall.
I think you're muted, Randall.
There, got the hand down, forgot to hit the mute button. Gee whiz, kids today. The club pipe. I like it very much. I smoke it often. It's getting nice and dark. I want it to get darker still, but it's coming. And in it, I have some MacBaron's Scottish mixture. And on the surface, you would think that would be a Latakia base, but it's not. It's Virginia predominantly, and it's not aromatic, but it's kind of almost a neutral, just a tobacco flavor that I like, and it's growing on me. Afterwards, I don't know. We'll probably switch off to an English blend, but a light one like the the Stokeby English Luxury. I like that one very much too. Well. So let's see. How about Bud in San Diego, excuse me.
There you go. Thanks, Randall. I'm smoking a GBD pipe that I picked up from the last West Coast Pipe Show and from an estate. And I'm smoking some of a pipe blend that Wilkie put together for our club, which is very Turkish forward with a hand of Latakia and some unsweetened Cavendish. And it's really great on the retrohale. The retrohale, the Orientals just come out, big time. And so I've given that a revisit. And then I'm going to go to my new club pipe from Janos, and I'll probably smoke some Burley Morning pipe in there. And let's go ahead and go over to Sean K. Pass the pipe to him.
Thank you, Bud. Just outside of Boston, and it's decided that it wanted to go straight from winter into summer, and that we jumped about 30 degrees in the past 3 days. I'm smoking a Peterson 317 with some Stokeby's Bullseye Flake. And I don't know what I'm going to go with after this, but it will definitely be something either a vapor or straight Virginia, because it's just feeling too damn hot for English. How about I pass it on to Dennis?
Had to unmute there. Hello, everyone. I've been out of the group for the last 2 weeks because the last 2 Saturdays I was traveling either to or from North Myrtle Beach to keep my wife happy and doing a week's vacation. Of course, I did some fishing and a few other things. But one thing I did want to tell you guys about is that if you ever do go on a vacation trip to North Myrtle Beach, that is where smokingpipes.com is headquartered, up the road a little bit. And so also is Cornell and Deal. But also what's interesting is right off on the other side of North Myrtle Beach, about 5 miles back into the coast, is a pipe store called Low Country Pipes and Cigars. The advantage of that place is that they are part of smokingpipes.com. So when I went in there, I was astonished to see that all of Cornell and Deal's tobaccos and loose tobaccos and a lot of the standard tobaccos that we all like were there, and they were labeled correctly. In other words, you didn't have to figure out what is lane 1Q, because that's exactly what they labeled it on their jar. So I was able to go through a lot of Cornell and Deal tobaccos and finally find one that I liked. So I bought 8 ounces of Old Joe Krantz. And they also have a very nice selection of Peterson and Savinelli pipes and a gorgeously huge smoking lounge. And in other words, if you want a nice place to sit back and ignore the family for a couple hours, and if you ever go to Myrtle Beach, a nice vacation spot, it is a nice place to go. I had a blast there. As a matter of fact, I went there 3 times. One, to buy a pipe, secondly, to buy the tobacco, and third, because they had a cigar special with a cigar manufacturer whose name now escapes me, a specialty boy. And it was a blast. The guys are fun. And finally, of course, right now, I've got a GBD Virgin here with Viprati in it. And I'll be done from there. So let's see. Up on my left-hand corner is Steve Spent. So go ahead, Steve.
Hey, thank you, Dennis. Good day, everybody, gentlemen, and any ladies who might be with us on YouTube. Hope everyone's doing great today. I am smoking or getting ready to load up the 82 Bent Dublin Dunhill that I showed you guys a few weeks ago that I picked up in an auction, an online auction locally. And I tell you what, I can't recommend it enough. If you guys ever get a pipe with some stem oxidization, get a set of those micro mesh sanding pads, just right off Amazon. And about 30 minutes, and I was just amazed. It brings the stem back to looking brand new. Getting ready to load into it today, some Aaron Moore Flake, about 1.5 years age on it. Nice, tangy, fruity, flowery Virginia with a little bit of burley in there that adds a little body, just a real nice warm weather smoke. So looking forward to that. I will pass the pipe on to Glenn. How you doing, Glenn?
Rude, but I can't stay for the whole meeting. I'm gonna be jumping off here real quick.
All right, David, I'm passing to you then.
I love to see all you people. I love to get my Saturday fix. My girlfriend wants to go shopping today with her daughter, so I've been invited. So you know how that goes. I can't tell you how many times I've spent in a hotel in North Myrtle Beach with a bunch of friends of mine, and it's amazing. And just stay away from Pauly's Island or the Gray Man will get you. But anyway, I'm gonna be smoking 1Q out of a corn cob today, and I don't know when I'm gonna get my second second bowl and my second pipe full. Probably won't be home when I get it, so it's gonna be the same corn cob, probably out of the stash that I carry around with me, which is a combination of every little teaspoon size and tablespoon size of tobacco left over out of a bag, thrown into a pouch and mixed up. So I can't tell you what it is. I call it Frankenstein's blend, but so anyway, I don't know who you were going to pass it to, Steve. I'm going to let you pass it to who you were going to pass it to, since I was so rude to interrupt.
Not at all, David. Glad you did that. I was going to pass it to Glenn.
I was going to say also, David, it's good to have you pop in, even if you could only stay for a little while. So I'm glad that you did that. And Steve, thank you for doing that. So Glenn, on to you, buddy.
Hi, gang. Good to see everybody. Hope I'm not on mute. Yep. Today I'm smoking some felt a little sweet today, so I'm smoking some Casey Jones. Pretty good, nice little aromatic. And
Is that the sample size there?
Yeah, this is just the sample size. Yeah. And I'm smoking it in one of my Nordings. This is I don't know, bent brandy. I'm not sure what they call these, but I love the shape of this pipe with the little widened tail on it. It's a number 14, so it's a pretty decent pipe. And one of my latest projects is a GBD Darby Lumberman rusticated. Very nice. Oval shank, beautiful pipe, nice blast. And that took me a while to restore, but it looking good. So we're finally into summer here. It's in the 70s today, which is appreciated. So hope everyone's doing well. And I will pass this on to Kent.
Thank you, Glenn. Hello, everyone. Good to see you all from around the world. Today, I'm going to go back in time, but different times. I'm going to be smoking first this pipe, which is a E. Seiler's type of Hungarian pipe, not the shape from where it comes from. It's called Debrecen. Debrecen is a Hungarian city that has some specific clay. And so this is a clay pipe. This one is probably more early 1800s and less 1700s. This one with a much longer one, I got to get back to get it all in, and has the original horn stem. And if you know of anyone who does vintage restorations who might have some horn stems, sorry about the barking in the background, then shoot me something in a chat and we'll see if we can get this thing fixed up. But yeah, very, very common in the 1800s was these East Seiler clay pipes from Deckenbren. In Hungary. I will have some 2020, not just going back a couple of years then, Sun Bear from the 2020 batch. And then when I get done with that, I will have the club pipe from 2020 with some holiday mixture in it, match holiday mixture from Sutliff. And
Kent, I have a question for you real fast.
Sure.
Is that the antique pipe, the big one, is it a good smoker?
It really is. The extra stem gives a little cooling down, and of course, clay is clay, and it's going to test your what do you call it? Delayed gratification. So you can't hot box something like that.
Nice. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good smokers. It's not a meerschaum, but it's a good smoke. And so I will pass the pipe around to Dave in LAX.
Thanks, Kent. Hi, guys. Coming to you from La Crosse, Wisconsin. That's where the LAX comes from, not the Los Angeles County Airport, but La Crosse, Wisconsin on the Mississippi River. Yeah, I'm smoking the same thing as I smoke pretty much every day, all day, and that is Balkan Supreme. This stuff I jarred up in 2009, and it's a great smoke, and I'm smoking it in a Dunhill collector. It's a big collector. I don't know what year it is, but it's from the 2000s, early 2000s, I believe. So, and with that, I'll pass it off to
Hey, Dave.
How about Tim down in the bottom row?
Dave, before we do that, can you hold up that Dunhill one more time? That's a shape I've not seen before from Dunhill. That's beautiful.
You know, they're relatively common. I'm assuming it was Colin Frum was carved in these. These were carved in London, start to finish, as the collectors, I think all were, out of Plateau Briar. I call it 7-day set of these HTXL collectors. Here's another one. It's not quite as dramatic, but it's got the Cumberland. I think this one's a shilling. And yeah, I love them. They don't look like Dunhills, but they sure smoke like one. They got the stem work like one. So
Lovely. Thank you.
yeah, I'll hand it off to Tim then and hear what he has to say. Thanks.
Very much for handing that off to me. Well, it's been a good Peterson week for me, I have to tell you. So what I have here, this is a Peterson Laura silver spigot. I got this off of eBay for $122 on a bid. It was just me and one other guy bidding, and he must have fallen asleep or something, but there it was, $122. So this is like smoking pipes. This is $240. So I think that was a really tremendous deal. So in it, I have some Amphora, a Virginia mixture, which I'm really liking that tobacco. I mean, I've been smoking it for a while, and the more I smoke it, the more I like it. And it's kind of inching its way up into easily my top 10. I was a little skeptical at first. Oh, it doesn't come in a tin, must not be good. Okay, that's stupid thinking, but it's a really outstanding tobacco for a very good price. And this morning, I went down to Peretti's in Boston for a Peterson trunk show. La DC Enterprises came up with some Peterson and Savinelli pipes. So I picked up this Peterson Arclo because I don't have one, shape 120. Nice and expensive pipe. So they offered a 15% discount and a T-shirt. How cool is that?
Oh, nice.
With the Peterson logo on the side. Too cool. Good. It's a good Peterson week. There's a pipe on eBay. It's like 1898 to 2016. The date is there. It's a Peterson patent with a horn stem. I'd love to bid on it, but right now it's at $290. That might just be out of my price range. I'd love to have it, but hey, I'm sure it's going to go for a lot. So anyway, I was a little late getting back from Boston from Peretti, so I don't really know who's left to go, but can you guys help me out? Who's left?
Well, Dave's up there with his hand up. So
okay, take it away, Dave. Take it away, Dave. Dave Harnack.
Brother. Nice to see you guys. Have a happy weekend. I'm sitting in the bunkhouse waiting for my train to go home, so I don't know how long I'll be around. If it's noisy, I apologize. But having a bowl of my favorite vapor because my favorite vapor smoker is in the house today. So it's Old Dominion and my Smoking Barrel Briars Lavat flame grain, and I'll see if I can have another pucker. I'm not what it'll probably be my Peterson Squire, and if I do get another bowl, it'll be Orlick Golden Slice. So hope everyone's having a good weekend, and yeah, it's good to see y'all. I don't know who's left, so I'll hand it back to DDR.
Well, let's see. There's a couple of people that didn't have their hand up, but maybe we can talk them into. So there's Farrell. Is it Farrell or Farrell or?
Farrell's fine.
All right.
Hello, guys.
Go ahead, Farrell. Hi, Dimitri. Hold on there, my fine-looking young friend there. Farrell, what are you smoking? And
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm smoking a Mastro de Paja bent billiard with some Wilkie peanut butter and chocolate.
Oh, that sounds great. That sounds
it's pretty good. Become one of my favorites. The interesting thing about his tobaccos, John Brandt is the blender, is that all of the aromatics I have tried from him are dry. They do not get wet. And the taste you get is what he said it is. If he said it's peanut butter and chocolate, that's what it is. If he says it's rum cake, it's like your Christmas rum cake. If he says it's butterscotch, trust me, it's butterscotch. I'm just fascinated with how he gets to where he gets with these blends. But anyway, that's what I'm smoking right now. And I don't know what I'm gonna do later on, but I'm gonna do something. Don't worry, I'm gonna do something. I don't know. Probably go back to an English or some special reserve from the Seattle Pipe Club, or yeah, probably that. That'll be the next one.
I've got one Master de Paja in my collection there. I love that pipe. How do you like that?
Oh, have been had it for years. Love it. I've got a couple of Mastros. They smell good, very good. No problems whatsoever.
Awesome. Well, it's good to see you. Is this your first time in the club meeting?
Actually, it's my second time, but it's been a couple of weeks since I got in here. Bud, our club president, I'm in San Diego, by the way, invited me. And I got in one other time before, and we went on hiatus for a while. And then I got an email from him this morning, and I said, let me jump on here and see if I can get in. And boom.
There we go.
Here.
Well, it's very nice to I don't think I had a chance to meet you last time, so it's nice to meet you this time. And
same here, guys. Same here.
Awesome. Well, let's go to Dimitri, because he apparently dressed up just to be with us today.
Hi. Hello, guys. As you see, I'm not in my backyard today. I'm right now at Casa de Monte Cristo in Manhattan, going to another event later. And today I'm starting with this beautiful club pipe by Janos Kokinos. I already smoked it once at New York Pipe Club meeting. Guys love the pipe, and it smokes like heaven. And I'm starting with this John Cousins Double Press Kentucky. And let me see who, I don't see any raised hands.
So before you go, Dimitri, so you're going to a cigar show right now? Is that what you're off to?
Yeah, this is cigar shop, Casa de Monte Cristo. And after that, I'm going to Merchant's Cigar Bar for another cigar event.
And you're going to send us all samples from the...
Well, the cigars we're going to smoke over there will be from Quesada. It will be Casa Magna Colorado and Casa Magna Liga F.
Nice. Well, we expect a review of all that, my friend.
I've never known a cigar bar to need a dress code.
Well, they don't have dress code, but when I go to different place, I dress accordingly.
Well, you're looking snazzy there, my friend. That's for sure. And not only that, gentlemen, you recognize that he also combed his hair and not just dressed up in a just
on his style.
He's going in style. That's right. John Plunkett, I see you just snuck in there. What are you smoking, sir?
I'm not real sure. It's an English mixture that I've been a little more. I've been drying it out in a coffee filter here for a bit. So it's got some Latakia. It's got some toasted Cavendish in it. Looks like some shredded Virginias. Nice sharp smell. So not really sure what it is. I am going to light up the club pipe though for the first time and put it underway in honor of our meeting today. And I apologize for arriving late.
Well, John, it's good to see you, as always there.
Which one? Pass this on to someone?
I think that might be everybody. If there's somebody that hasn't...
Chris has his hand up. Chris Sharp.
Oh, there we go. Chris.
Hi, how's everybody doing? Yeah, I'm in our Florida place today. I'm not really feeling that great, so I'm not doing any pipes today, but I wanted to say hello to our guest because we've corresponded, but he's never laid eyes on me, so I wanted to at least say hello.
I look better in email.
That's okay. I appreciate it, though. Appreciate you taking the time out talking to me occasionally. So I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Well, let me just go right there for a second here. So for those of you who might be new in the club or watching us over there on Facebook and YouTube and wherever else we can pirate out to, this is our weekly, basically, ritual. It's not something that's that avant-garde, obviously, but it's always nice to hear what other people are smoking because I don't know about you all, but I learned so much. Like I learned about peanut butter and chocolate tobacco today, which I swear I'm going to get some now because peanut butter and chocolate. That's all I got to say about that.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
So that's something you may see me smoking next week. We have a very special guest today. I want to introduce him in a second, but I also want to make a couple of quick announcements. I thought I would start doing this in the middle of the meeting because by the time I usually get to my announcements, it's at the end and everybody's decided to, go do real life. And so a couple of things coming up. In 2 weeks, I will be at Chicago at the Chicago Pipe Show, and I'm planning on doing the live streaming from the floor of the show. So be sure you don't miss that one because we're going to get a chance to interview a bunch of people. We're going to do a walk around of the show. I'm going to take a lot of video beforehand, before the show starts, so that we can just kind of watch and share, and so that's going to be a very special one. If you're going to be at the Chicago show, and I know a lot of people have told me that they were going to be there, I would love to have you send us an email or post it on to the Facebook group so that we can all hook up together and be a movement. Everyone there at the show. But we've also got some more special guests coming in the coming weeks, and we'll tell you more about that when we get there. Having said that, I think we're going to just move on to our special guest, somebody that we've had on the show before, a very good friend of ours, Brian Levine from the pipesmagazine.com radio show. And I'm going to find out, first of all, what he's smoking today. And it probably will be no surprise about what kind of tobacco he's got because he's always smoking the same stuff. But and
almost.
It's
He's
not
not
lane
going to
1Q
tell
either.
you what it is, though.
But we ought to know.
I'll tell. I don't care. Truth's out. Hello. Hi, I'm Brian. I'm a pipe addict. It's always good to come back on and hang out with you guys. I feel bad because I don't often lurk in the background just on the regular shows, but I do go back and watch them on YouTube. So I try to catch up on them. Today I am smoking let's see if the camera will do this any justice. It's a Jody Davis Saint grade, I don't know what you want to call it, bent thing. But the reason I'm smoking it is because it's got a bowl capacity that I can load once and get through 3 hours with the way I smoke. And to throw you all off, I am not smoking my Acadian ribbon. I'm not. I am suffering by having to smoke some McClellan St. James Woods that was given to me in October of 2015. And so I opened this jar at the beginning of the winter, and when we were home, I would often end the night with this because this is a fairly heavy blend. It's a Virginia Perique. It's a fairly heavy blend, and I would like to end the night with it, but now that it's warming up and I noticed I've still got about 5 or 6 bowls full, I was like, well, I better smoke it quick. So I'm forcing myself to smoke a 7 or 8 year old McClellan Virginia Perique and finish it off so that I'm done with it.
We're terribly sorry for the bad conditions that you find yourself in having to smoke that.
My life is tough. I know, and I appreciate your,
Our
Brian,
sympathies
I'll
go.
be happy to relieve you of your suffering. Just send it to me.
I appreciate that, but there's just not enough left to even post it anywhere, and I'll just, I'll suffer. I started the project out. I got to finish it. Darn it. And then afterwards, I'll switch back to. Well, I may just try to go through this today and be done with it. So.
and then the hangover tomorrow.
Yeah, that's fine. I won't. Yeah, whatever. But dinner is going to be peanut butter and jelly sandwiches now that I have peanut butter and chocolate.
Well, I invited Brian back on for many reasons. Number one, he's one of my favorite people. But number two is because, as I posted this morning, the pipe show season is upon us. Chicago is just around the corner, and there's all kinds of other things happening. And I thought that Brian and I were chatting about this and have him come on and talk to us about, like, what is that like? What does it take to make a pipe show? And so he's going to tell, and he's got maybe some special news that he wants to share with us. But first of all, Brian, if you want to just, for the 3 or 4 people who have been in a cave for the last 20 years, just give your CV and then tell us about pipe shows.
So let's see, this is 2022. So I started in the pipe and cigar world in 1994. And over that time worked for companies like a little British firm called Alfred Dunhill. Worked for Hulk O'Rourke, who at the time that I worked there was the importer for Peterson, Nording, Camoys, GBD, Butch Shokan, Pioneer, Gord Calabashes, and I'm sure I'm forgetting Costello. We had just lost Costello, probably because I got hired. Costello said we're done. And we also imported all the World Tobacco product and Peter Stokeby product. We had A&C Peterson product. And that's where I met a guy named Peter Stokeby and became really good friends with him and ended up working for his son, Eric, for 6 years, of which I would, kindly refer to Eric as Junior, just to remind him that he's not his father. My history with the Stokeby family goes back so far that Eric's daughter babysat for us, and I used to throw Max Stokeby in the pool at their house. From the Stokebys, I went to work for the RTDA, which then turned into the IPCPR, which is now the PCA, whatever the hell they are. And I worked there for 3 years, and that's when I got my first taste of managing a trade show floor. That one was 300,000 square feet, 6,000 attendees, and it was 8 days at the Venetian, or we were in Houston 1 year. From that point, I went to, I forget who was just in Myrtle Beach.
Dennis.
So Dennis, when you were standing in that store, if you were in the back wall where the little coffee maker is, where the wet bar is, directly above you was my office when I was the general manager for smokingpipes.com.
All I can say is that is a lovely store. And one thing I must confess, I got to interrupt for a minute, Brian, because it is a well done store. And I forgot to add that the prices in the store are exactly the same as what you will get on Smoking Pipes. So as a result, I got a lovely Peterson harp in there, Irish harp, and it's been smoking beautifully. And I was thinking I paid a little bit too much, but then I went to this website and it's the same price. Yeah. That is also amazing. Even their tobacco is the same price.
Did they still have the scratch and dent bins of pipe tobacco tins?
Not that I saw this time. I had heard that they had it on occasion, but they had the special on there, the Low Country tobaccos that were made for the Low Country pipe and cigar. They had about 5 or 6 of them, and they had those on sale. So I That's the second time I went in, and I bought them all. So, the place was gorgeous, and my wife got a lot of souvenirs, and so did I. And I spent about 4 times more on, quote, souvenirs, unquote, than she did.
Well, there's a first.
Yeah. So I worked there for about a year and a half. And then I became the Brigham Pipes guy for a couple of years. And then that moved me up to the Sutliff and McBaron Company because I got traded for the Canadian pipes and some maple syrup and something. And then I said, all right, I've had enough fun. For 505 weeks in a row, I have produced and hosted the Pipes Magazine radio show. If you begin listening right now at the first one and just hit auto replay, it's about 512 hours. So, so that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
And then
just as context for those people who are new to Brian, so this is the most successful pipe related podcast in the world. And there's no mystery about why that is. Brian does an excellent job at bringing some terrific guests. And if you haven't had a chance to listen to the podcast before, this is my shameless plug for you to go listen to it.
And several of my most loyal listeners are in the virtual pipe club. And I know who you guys are, and I'm looking at you right now. So thank you. Although I still want Dave to blow the train whistle one time for me, but I know that, that's down the road. In all honesty, it's kind of bizarre because I was talking to a friend of mine. I am one of the most awarded people in the pipe hobby because I have the Kansas City Certificate of Appreciation. I have the Doctor of Pipes, and I have the very rare Richmond Pipe Club Barry Levin Legacy Award. So, and then I've got one of the Richmond Pipe Club cups that Dave I'll introduce again in a minute wants, but he can't have it. So that brings me to why am I here, and anybody that has listened to the Pipes Magazine radio show has heard me over and over and over again say how wonderful pipe shows are and how valuable they are to the community and how important they are for those of us that are enthusiasts of the pipe and tobacco arts to get to a pipe show. If you haven't heard me say that, well, there, I just said it again. Dave Peterson, who's down there, wave Dave. Dave Peterson and I are taking over what was the West Coast Pipe Show. And
wait. Gentlemen, this is your opportunity to go crazy.
Yeah, Muppet hands.
Yes.
So Dave Peterson and I reached out to Marty Pulvers and Steve O'Neill, and through some talking back and forth, we are about a day away from signing the contract with the hotel, with the Palace Station, to have the show this October. I'm hesitant to say October 22nd and 23rd, but that's the dates that they've given us. And we haven't signed the contract yet. So if you book a plane ticket and 1% of a chance something changes, sorry. But yeah, so that's between Dave and I think I started going to pipe shows in October of 2020, October of 2000. My first real one was Richmond. And from that point on, I was a consistent attendee at Richmond, Columbus, Chicago, Kansas City. I would poke in and out of St. Louis, the Raleigh Pipe Show, Raleigh, North Carolina. I would get to, if they didn't schedule it around spring break for my kids, which they did frequently. And then the West Coast Pipe Show, I've been to every one except for the first one in 2009. So that's probably... it's probably 100 pipe shows, and Dave's been to a few more than I have. So we are both very excited and very anxious to get this going, and we also wanted to make sure that there would continue to be a viable pipe show in Las Vegas for the West Coast and for the world.
So first of all, congratulations.
Congratulations or condolences.
A thing like that, you get both, right? You get both. For a little context, because we have been really fortunate in getting a lot of younger fellas. There's a gentleman who is watching over there on the live stream who's 24, just started smoking pipes and whatnot. How long have pipe shows been a thing? Like, do you have any history on that?
The first pipe gathering that I know of was there was an advertisement for it in the 1950s. There was a pipe, the pipe man, or there was an old newsletter that was around for a couple of years, and they wanted pipe guys to gather at a specific time and date. The origin of pipe shows as we know them now goes back to basically a retailer had a pipe club, and the club would host a big enough one-day meeting where it was too big for the store. So they would host it somewhere outside the store, maybe at a restaurant. And the retailer that supported them would bring in special product, and maybe the vendors, the suppliers would bring in special, send in trunks worth of products. And that was kind of the origin of the pipe shows. And then I mentioned Barry Levin. A guy named Barry Levin started doing some independent pipe shows. Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the first one was like Washington, D.C., and then one in Philadelphia. But those were in the 80s or the very early 80s. And Barry Levin was a pipe reseller. So he had a commercial motive. But then you had the Chicago group. There was always kind of a Chicago pipe show going of some sort that was supported by one or two retailers, and then the pipe club themselves would host it. The Chicago pipe show that we know now, when it first moved to a hotel, was in a very bad part of Chicago that was kind of scary, and I never went there, so I didn't see it, but I can imagine. There have been, in Indiana, there was the Indiana Briar Friars show that was in the early 80s, and that was a pipe club, again, that was supported heavily by one single retailer. Here in Charlotte, the McCraney's stores supported a pipe club and an annual pipe show. And the idea was, these shows in the 80s and 90s were predominantly, pipe, everybody bring their collection, put it out on tables, and maybe do some trading and swapping, but mostly do some showing of your collection. So it was a chance for you to bring out your favorite Sheratons or your favorite whatevers you were collecting and show them. And if you had pipes that you didn't like, that weren't doing so well, there was a chance for you to trade them with somebody that would, maybe the pipe would do better for them. Then right around 99, 2000, that's when the pipe shows, I think, took a turn to a more commercial event where you had more independence of less relying on one retailer and a club full of people to show stuff, but more inviting other vendors, other importers, distributors, multiple retailers. The very beginnings of the online pipe resellers. And then you had the individual pipe makers that for the first time were starting to come out to pipe shows and meet their clients and sell direct to them. In the 90s, you had maybe Butera and Mark Tinsky and 3 or 4 other American pipe makers that would go and do trunk shows or attend these things. Now you go to the Chicago Pipe Show, and I think every third person there, especially 10 years ago, every third person there was a pipe maker. And so they became more of a, less of a show and swap and more of a sell and socialize. So, David Dorian, did that answer that question, or did I just talk a lot and make it sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, that was awesome. Let me pause, though, and see if any of the guys here in the club have some questions that they'd like to ask you, and then I'll get back to my list as well. Dimitri, your hand's still up. Do you have a question or something to share with?
No, so just forgot to put it down.
That was a holdover. Well, gentlemen, if you do have a question,
he may be
for,
trying to get a drink while he's there and raising the wrong hand.
That's right. If you have a question for Brian, go ahead and throw your virtual hand up there, and I can call on you. And Dennis, quick on the button there. Go right ahead, sir.
Hiya, Brian. Thank you very much for all your help over the years. What I want to ask you is, you're talking about pipe shows. Mm-hmm. The other thing that's, since I started with pipes in the 70s, when did mail order start? Back then early, or in other words, was it pre-internet, or has it been mostly because the internet allows you to show your pipes and pictures and all that? Because to me, mail order, I didn't realize existed until around 2001, 2002.
The Wally Frank Company from New York City goes back to post World War II, and he was doing mailers and flyers and ads nationally in the late 40s and the 50s, and you could mail order Wally Frank product all around the world. You can get it anywhere you wanted. And then Wally Frank was kind of the beginnings of what Lou Rothman saw and took JR Cigar and expanded and created. So, Wally Frank had like 6 or 7 stores in Manhattan and a huge mail order division.
Well, isn't it Ivan Reese who has this beautiful big catalog?
Ivan Reese did catalogs I think they started doing theirs in the late 50s, early 60s. And you can find some of them online with full color. I mean, they were doing full color printed catalogs in the 60s, and you had to call and get on their mailing list. But then once a year you'd get it, and there'd be some pipes on there from the night. My favorite one is a $500 Sixton Iverson pipe on the cover of the 1964 or 62, something like that catalog, and was looking at it going, $500 back then. That was the same price as a Ford.
Yeah, I know Peterson has been doing mail orders at least as early as 1960s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. The Peterson Company had a store in Manhattan where they would sell mail order too.
Yeah, so. It was on 42nd Street, which later became a Baccarat, and unfortunately now it's closed.
Yeah. Now it's probably a CVS or a...
I think it's some coffee shop or something. I don't remember. Now there's only one Baccarat location left in New York.
That's okay. I like coffee too. So.
Tim, I see you got your hand up there, brother.
Yeah, Brian, you mentioned Barry Levin. Brings back some really excellent, wonderful memories. Back, it might have been the 80s or 90s. I can't remember exactly, but before the internet, Barry Levin had Levin Pipes International, and he would do exactly what you said, resell pipes. Every 2 months or so, you'd get a mailer from him. You get a stack of photographs, maybe that thick, and on each photograph there might have been 30 to 50 pipes, just incredible. And he would also have an accompanying, price list, description of the pipe and the pipe list. And he brought a lot. I think he brought a lot of pipes that were not known into the whole hobby. I think he promoted Mike Butera and one of the Italian pipes. I mean, it was just so great getting this mailer every month. It was like the best day, because I would sit for hours and hours and look at those things, and of course bought a few pipes from him. But that was just a tremendous business here. And you'd call him on the phone and say, I'd like pipe number 173. And you'd send him a check and he'd send you your pipe. It was just great.
Yeah, he was really instrumental in it. And then the other thing that I forgot to mention is the Pipe Smokers Ephemeris was another way that collectors and hobbyists communicated to each other. And that goes back to, I think Tom started that in the very late 60s, maybe early 70s. And that was twice a year. So it was really, yeah, those were some days. We get mad if our Amazon order isn't here within 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
That was, 6 months.
And I think there was a show that Barry had in Westboro, Mass. I can't remember what year it was, but it was a full-on pipe show with a whole bunch of people. He had all of his pipes there, and Paredes was there, and a bunch of other people.
Yeah,
super. Dave Hereniuk, I saw your hand up there. Did you get on board your train, or are you still there? He must be on the train then.
No, I'm having some connectivity issues. Sorry. Probably gonna I would like to say thanks for stepping in, O'Brien, and enjoy everything you do for the community. But I'm having trouble with my internet, so I don't really want to get into detail. Have a good day.
All right, we'll talk to you later, bro.
Hey guys, I got to jump off here. I would love to sit here and listen to Brian Levine. He's one of my go-to fixes. I feel like I'm addicted to Brian Levine. I can't.
God.
I can't seem to stay away from him and his podcast, and I always learn so much. But thank you, Brian.
You are very welcome.
Don't say that too loud, David, or the FDA is gonna.
I could be regulated as an addictive product.
You are a master in your craft, and I really appreciate it. And well, anyway, I want to thank you all for letting me sit here for a few minutes, and I got to jump off. So I will talk to you next week.
Take care, David.
Thank you, David.
Aw. That's funny. I'm addicted to David.
DDR, I think you're on mute.
I'm on mute. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
I was talking to my dog and I took myself on mute. Brian, what I was saying is a question came in from one of our viewers over there on the live stream. University Piper wants to know about your favorite Danish makers that are still alive, and do you have any of their pipes?
Personally, Tom Eltang is my favorite. His little Eltang bent, his little pokers, boy, those are just really good little 25, 30-minute smokers. And I've got 2 of them back there because I'm crazy enough that if I like one, I should have a second one just in case the first one doesn't, something happens. So yeah, Eltang. And then, and Eltang in the realms of the Danish pipes, Eltang's prices are relatively moderate. I don't want to say reasonable. Keep an eye on like smokingpipes.com and you'll find the Eltang pokers show up for $350 on the estate stuff.
Wow. Getting back to the pipe shows, was there like a heyday for pipe shows when they really started to blossom and become popular and become to attracting a lot of participation, and golden era, as it were?
So I'm not old enough for what I think would be the golden era, which was the collector show and swap era. I went to a couple of shows that were closer to that, where a couple of the Richmond shows early on, collectors would bring out their stuff and just say my collection and not for sale. But I think if you looked at like from 2003, 4 into 2008 or 9, I think there was a really sweet spot of time in there where the shows were getting bigger, more interesting, and newer ideas were coming out. And then, unfortunately, I think the financial crisis and the global financial crisis, which seems to happen every couple of years now, in 2008 and 9 made travel more expensive, and it hurt stuff. And the internet helped by becoming better at internet selling. Photography became better. Download speed became better. It became easier to sell on the internet. So by 2011 or 12, I think you started to see the hardcore people coming to pipe shows, but not as many of the new people. I think there was also a period where in 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, the YouTube pipe community started to come out and show up at the pipe shows. And I don't think they were made as welcome as they should have been made to feel as welcome. They were somewhat shunned a little bit at some of the events and stuff. And I think that was a really big downfall, because one of the pitches that I gave to Steve and Marty about me and Dave taking over the West Coast Pipe Show was that Marty's going to turn 80 and Steve O'Neill's in his mid to late 70s or mid 70s. I'm 54, so I'm one of the younger people that's involved in organizing a pipe show right now, except for the guys at Briarworks at the Muletown Pipe Show. So I think there were some problems that they didn't ingratiate. The pipe show, the traditional old guard pipe show community did not ingratiate themselves and make the new YouTube pipe community feel welcome. And if anybody wants to fight me on that, come on out. I'll be at Chicago, I'll be at Columbus, and I'll be in Las Vegas for pipe shows. Bring it on.
Well, so
Brian, I have a question with that in mind. All the pipe shows you have seen, do you have a sense at this point, like what's a good formula for a successful show?
What you're going to see in Las Vegas.
Okay.
What's a good formula is a place where everybody, and I really mean this when I say this is not a bullshit line. Oh, am I allowed to say words like that on this? This
you
is
should say
not
more of them. That's what I'm trying to get to. But
yeah, this is not a bovine defecation word statement. I really believe that anybody that smokes any kind of pipe with any kind of tobacco in it is a pipe smoker and is a friend of mine. And that's a completely judgment-free zone is what is really important for a pipe show. And the understanding that if I'm smoking oh, here I am, I'm all fancy. It's a Saint grade Jody Davis, not just a regular grade, it's a Saint grade, and 7-year-old McClellan. I didn't start out doing that. So create an environment that is a place where everybody feels welcomed, everybody is comfortable, and it's judgment free. And then you've got to have good, exciting exhibitors that display stuff nicely, and you've got to have people that stay on the show floor. So it's a simple trade show marketing 101. Fill the aisles with exhibitors that have interesting stuff and fill the aisles with customers that are interested in the stuff that the exhibitors have, and keep them together as long as possible. That's it. Allow a place where the exchange of information is freely had. I've been talking to a ton of people lately, but who was I talking to? I was discussing my tamping method, and that was just an accident that I happened to sit down next to the right guy at a table at the Richmond Pipe Show. His name was Frank Blues, and he worked for Dunhill and Lane Limited for 475 years. But he drew it out on a cocktail napkin, exactly the idea behind his tamping method, and that's the one I've described on the podcast. You'll find that. You'll be sitting at a pipe show table, and have you ever tried my favorite? Don't worry about it. Here, have a bowl. Yeah, then you can find out if you like it. And then is it worth the $35 or $40 that Steve Fallon is selling it for online? That's up to you to decide. Create that environment of everybody's welcome.
Awesome. Miguel has had his hand up for a second there. Let me go to him.
Miguel's trying to get Dimitri to bring him a drink.
Thank you, DDR. Nice to see you again, Brian. I got a quick question. In the spirit of Chicago Pipe Show, I was listening to one of your episodes about Frank Perla. Have you been to Frank Perla's museum?
I was in the museum twice before he sold it. Yeah.
What a beautiful man.
That giant South Pacific statue woman was staring at me, and she scared me to death. It was just a freaky big giant carving that he had in there. I also donated. There's only 2 times in my life where three times. 2 times in my life where I gave away a part of the Disney Tobacco collection, and one was to Frank, where I gave him a book of matches for his museum. And now I wish, I'd like to be able to go back and hang out with Frank again and visit the museum, but that's not possible on this planet for the moment.
Thank you.
We'll get there. I have a question about, as you describe, the basics of running a trade show, interesting exhibitors and interested people in the aisles and whatnot. For a pipe show, what do you think is the importance of the smoking tent?
I don't think the smoking tent's important. I think it's a necessary evil. Because as legislation's made it impossible for some people to find places to host a show where they can smoke inside the building, it's a necessary evil that you have a place where the best part of pipe shows happen, which is meeting people and memories with the people. You need to have a place where we congregate and see stuff and talk.
That's kind of, where I was my interest in this question. So I've actually been to a lot of conventions and trade shows where there is a VIP lounge or where there's places where, food court or something like that, where theoretically people gather before, during, and after they're walking the floor and whatnot. And they've never, ever been as robust as what I've seen in just the limited shows that I've been to, where the smoking area is where the real stuff happens,
Yeah, the pipe smoke, the smoking tent at Chicago is my, I've seen hundreds of thousands of pipes in my life, and I can walk through the show floor in Chicago in an hour and find the 2 pipes I'm interested in and then rethink about them. But sitting out in the smoking tent is where you get a chance to meet all these wonderful people that are here. And you get a chance to share a drink, share a bowl, smell what they're smoking while they're doing it. If anybody wanted to see my pipe up close, here's a pipe, hand it to them and let them actually see it and touch it and feel it. So many of us, especially in the days of the internet, the only pipes we've ever touched are the ones we've ordered. And then you hope that you're dealing with a retailer or with a vendor that will let you return it if it doesn't feel right. Well, I learned exactly how to walk up to any pipe and put it in my fingers like that and tell you if the stem is made to the proper design for me, primarily by touching pipes. And you can touch a bunch. I've told this story numbers of times on the podcast, I think, but and I think I'm going to tell it again on an upcoming episode too. I was sitting at the West Coast Pipe Show back when it had the Irish pub, and I watched the conclusion of a 2-year-long negotiation between two pipe collectors that were trading one Bo Nord pipe for another Bo Nord pipe. I sat there at the table while they concluded this 2-year-long negotiation, and both of them were enamored with each other's pipe, and it ended up working out. I don't know what the finances of it was, but it was a one pipe for one pipe. And I got to touch and hold both of those pipes. I'm never going to own a Bo Nord pipe. I mean, the last one I saw for sale was $8,000 for something that looked like it was, just a little stubby black thing like that. This is not a Bo Nord. But you get to see stuff like that. And even if you can't afford it, I went to the Louvre and they refused to sell me the Mona Lisa for $400 because that's how much cash I had on me, but I still got to see the Mona Lisa.
In maybe bizarre kind of afterthought about that, about the availability of alcohol at the smoking tent.
Yeah, so here's a little, I'll get into the background of the finances of a pipe show because this plays into it. Dave and I are booking with the Palace Station Hotel Casino. In the cost to reserve the room is an agreement that we will sell X amount of hotel room nights through the group rate. And there's also a requirement that we have to purchase. Dave and I now are we have to buy $4,000 worth of food. That food can be either drinks, any kind of beverages from the little cash bar that will be set up in our smoking lounge area, or the Saturday night dinner that we're going to host. So we've got to commit to the cost of the room, the cleaning fee. We're looking into upgraded internet and Wi-Fi so that David Dorian can come and host the Saturday show right there from the show floor and smoke at the same time. So that's, we're talking several thousands and thousands of dollars. And the hotel room nights, if we fall short of the room nights reserved, same thing. Well, then we got to come up with more money. So the same thing is going on at the Chicago Pipe Show. So when you walk into, I don't know if they're going to have a cash bar in their smoking tent this year. God, I hope they do. If they don't, they're stupid. But when you walk into the Chicago Pipe Show, there are several ways that you as a attendee without exhibiting a table can support the event. 1, book a room at the hotel. 2, buy one of their dinners, whether it be I think they're doing a Friday night $20 buffet and a Saturday night $80 dinner. 3, pay for admission into the show, into the exhibit hall portion of the show. And they're going to have a silent auction. That's also a big fundraising part for them with all the product donated. At the West Coast Pipe Show, traditionally, they've had a raffle drawing where Dave spends $50 and gets 50 tickets and then has to write his name down on all 50 of them and get a hand cramp. But, that's money that goes directly to the show coffers. Or buy a drink at the bar. that helps the food and beverage requirement that these hotels have placed on these events. And then, of course, it helps that if you actually buy stuff from the vendors that have paid for the tables, and when I mean vendors, I mean anybody that's paid for a table, buy stuff from them, because that makes them want to come back. So there's the back end finances.
There's the back end finances. By the way, for those people, so I've worked in hospitality off and on for good many years, and at hotels, they make very thin margins on their rooms, but the bulk of what they make profit on is their food and beverage service. So, because they get very good prices on alcohol, and then they sell it up at retail. So when you buy a drink, that really helps to pay for whatever kinds of, from your conventions to your weddings to whatever goes on at the hotel. Buy a drink and you'll pay for it. But
buy a coffee.
Buy a coffee.
I can tell you the RTDA budget that we had for the Sands Convention Center and the Venetian was $5.5 million in expenditures over the 4-day trade show.
But how many participants? How many guests did you have there?
That was 6,000 people, and at the peak we had there were 7,000 hotel rooms on the property, and at the peak we had 2,100 hotel rooms occupied. So it was a much bigger venture than what we're doing at the Palace Station. But
that was not for retail either, was it?
No, that was just a wholesale event. So this is much smaller, but still, if Dave and I, our goal this year is, and we'll be honest with you, our goal is that the hotel is going to give myself and Dave free rooms while we're there for the 5 nights or whatever. And other than that, I hope that we don't have to write a check at the end of it for a couple $1,000s for the shortage. So, we're paying our own meals and our own airfare, and hopefully we get a free hotel room.
Well, I'm pretty sure that every member of the Virtual Pipe Club will be there.
And if not, just send $20 to DDR and he'll bring it and buy something on the behalf of the club, and he'll keep it and consume it for you.
In just a minute, I'm going to open it up to more questions from the group here, and also those of you who are watching online, please don't hesitate to throw your question into the chat there, and I'll pass it on to Brian.
Or suggestions too.
Too. Yeah. Hold on to your question, because I have one more aspect of this: alcohol at the show and in the smoking tent is the social aspect of having alcohol there.
Yeah. So here's the thing that's going to be different in Chicago this year, and I don't know how it's going to work, because previously at Pheasant Run would look the other way with the smoking policy in the hotel rooms. This year, the Marriott put out a notice that it's like $7.6 million if you're caught smoking in the rooms or something. It was, I think it might have been a typo, but I think they actually said $2,500 fine for smoking in a hotel room there. So when you go into the smoking tent, technically by law, you're probably not supposed to bring your own liquor in there. But, so you go in there and you and your friends are hanging out, and you buy a round of beers the first time, and then somebody else buys the other round the other times. With the West Coast Pipe Show, we have asked the hotel to block off. They have one floor of smoking rooms, and we have asked the hotel to block off as many of those smoking rooms for our club members that want to host what used to be called room hopping. So those of you who have not been to a pipe show before, it was traditional on especially at the Richmond show when it was at the old Holiday Inn, or Chicago at Pheasant Run. Anybody that had a hotel room and wanted to open it up at night would just become a hangout. So there were famous places like, not this Dave, but another Brother Dave's. They used to call him Coffee Dave because Brother Dave would make Turkish coffee for people all night long. The Seattle Pipe Club had a room, and they would open it up, and there'd be booze in there, and you could bring your own booze with you. So we are trying to block out that 14th floor for as many of our people to open their rooms. And there might be some pre-show selling of stuff because maybe one of the vendors wants to put pipes out on on one bed and have the other bed for sitting on and hanging out and smoking and drinking. The only problem is, in order to get onto that 14th floor, you need to have a valid room key because the Palace Station security won't let you up the tower unless you have a valid room key for the hotel. So if you're staying on the 2nd through 30th floor, they don't care. Just show them your room key and you go in. But that social drinking aspect, that's also important because, I used to be a big fan of Bullet Bourbon, and the way I found out about Bullet Bourbon was going to the Hermit Tobacco Room where Jay Jones always drove through Ohio or whatever truck stop it was from back then, and he discovered Bullet Bourbon and brought it, and he'd just sit there and pour it for everybody. Or Coffee Dave would be making Turkish coffee, or Chuck Rio, a longtime noted collector and member of the Chicago Pipe Club who passed away recently. Chuck Rio's room was always a hot spot for hanging out, telling tales, and drinking whatever might be around. So
cool. Well, Bud's got his hand up there, smoking that beautiful looking 2022 club pipe there.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was going to say when I've been to the last pipe show there at West Coast. And, So when we order meals in the restaurants that are within the casino, that helps you out too?
No, because they don't want to give that up. It's just the stuff on the show floor or the dinner, the dinners.
Okay.
We're working on some ideas but I've got to talk to the catering people about trying to get them to sell hot dogs off that little cart off that little cash bar. So no, it's just what happens inside the room. Unfortunately, I'd like to get credit for all the $20 bills that go in the slot machines too, but the rat bastards are tighter than crabs when it comes to that. I didn't say the other part of the crab that's tight, but
I told you I was encouraging you to be more scatological if you so desire.
Yeah, well, here's the other cost of doing this show at the West Coast show at the Palace Station. My wife loves to play bingo, and she will go into that bingo room, and for $10, she'll sit there and cuss and moan at the bingo caller for an hour, and then at the end of the day, she's lost $50, and I'm like, well, yeah, okay. Did you have fun? No, he didn't call my damn numbers. Like, okay, well then don't do it again. No, I love it. All right, well then do it again. Yeah. So you can bring your significant others, and again to continue the welcoming theme. We don't care what gender they are, what relationship you have to them. Just bring them, and if they want to hang out in the casino or even with the Palace Station, it's got a free shuttle to the Strip that runs like every 2 hours. And you can go get a free ride down to the Strip. And if you've seen some of the shops down there, you can spend way more than a Bo Nord pipe just buying a little doodad or whatnot. So
there you go. Sean K., I see you've got your hand up there.
Yeah, I was just going to throw out, if you're looking for other ideas, you might want to try to do a tasting and the smoking tent. We have 4 or 5 different types of bourbons or scotches or something like that with tobaccos you've already thought of pairing with it, which they'll probably count towards your meal fees.
Yeah, that requires a little. For us in Las Vegas, that would require the hotel participating in it and maybe getting their vendor. But that's a good idea, especially if we look at the show getting bigger, doing 6 o'clock Friday or 6 o'clock Saturday kind of thing, and say, all right, here's a tasting. Richmond, Dave Peterson, were you there when the Richmond show had the guy from Macallan or one of those mix something scotches that came and did his whole presentation and tasting?
No, not that I remember, but I go back to the Richmond show when it was still, a smoke-friendly show. You could smoke anywhere. And our West Coast Pipe Show is going to be as close to that old-fashioned pipe show as you're going to find these days. There really isn't any other place where you don't have to leave the premises, or you don't even have to walk to a tent. It's going to be smoke-friendly. So.
Yeah. Now this guy the Richmond, the core show, probably 15 years ago, had a representative from one of the single malt scotches or Scotch whiskey people. And he came over, he had that Scottish accent and was just a fantastic presenter. And that's when I discovered that I don't like single malt Scotch, but it was a fantastic presentation. And we allow people that don't like single malt Scotch, and we allow people that don't like Latakia, because I'm both of those. So.
Steve Spent, I see your hand is up there, my friend.
Hey, thanks, David. Brian, do you have any ability to negotiate, cash bar drink prices? And the only reason I ask is a friend of mine just shared with me this morning that it's been a number of years since I've been out to Las Vegas, but if you're not gambling, to where they're pushing you free drinks, that it's about $17 for a beer now out in a typical Las Vegas casino. Now, I'm just a simple country boy from Central Illinois, but what's the world coming to? Seriously.
Yeah, we're going to be at the Palace Station. We're not going to be on the Strip at the Wynn the Wynn or the Aria or the something must be special about that damn Corona bottle, because boy, am I buying the company or just one beer?
No doubt.
I think the Palace Station, I think the prices are like $6-7 for a bottle of beer at a
now that's
cash bar. 3 years ago when I was there, the guy was pouring decent cups of coffee, which is more important to me than cocktails. It was a decent cup of coffee, and it was like $2.50, and there was one free refill with it. A bottle of water was $2.50 or $3 or something. So, do we have any power to negotiate? No, because we're too small. We start getting up into the couple thousand people showing up for this event. First of all, we won't be at the Palace Station at that point, but then you got some power to start saying, you want our group, you gotta, let's talk prices on food and drinks. But you're right. Some of the places have gone absolutely batshit crazy with their prices.
Yeah.
So this is one of the ways that you can. Did I come back on?
Yeah.
Okay. Because my dog started barking there. This is one of the ways that you can bring those kinds of prices down. Not maybe this year, but in coming years, support the show. Make an investment to come out and have an awesome time a couple years in a row. As the attendance goes up, then Brian and Dave will be able to move to another venue, to be able to promise more room nights. The hotels have this algorithm that they use. Yes, we want to sell a lot of food and beverage, but that's also a function of how many people are staying there. So, if you say, well, we'll have 2,000 room nights, then
they're a little happier.
Yeah, the hotels be like, okay, sure, we'll come down to something reasonable on that. Yeah.
And since this is just a very small group and nobody's really listening or paying attention, I'll tell you guys a secret to how to get around this. Are you ready? Somebody's dog has got to swear to the secret too, because I don't want any dogs flapping their gums about this. So with the West Coast Pipe Show, which may or may not be the name of it, there's a 7-Eleven convenience store right in the front corner of the parking lot. If you have a hotel room at the Palace Station and you book it through the show and get the show discounted rate, which will save you money, go walk through the hotel, walk through the casino, figure out what kind of beers they're selling in the bottle, go out to the 7-Eleven, go out there and buy them in the bottle, bring them back to your room, put them on on ice in the room. And then when you want a beer or two, go up to your room, pop the bottle, come back down. You're walking through the casino and you're walking back into the show. Nobody knows where the hell you bought it. But don't tell anybody I said that.
Good tip. Thank you.
Las Vegas, I will also, the first thing you'll see me do after I check into the hotel and unpack is walk to that 7-Eleven and get a 24-pack of their bottled water for $6 versus a little tiny bottle at the Palace Station for $2, because I drink a ton of water when I'm in Vegas. So there's a little trick, a little tidbit. The West Coast Pipe Show is going to be a little bit different than some of the other pipe shows that some people have seen, because we are going to attempt to do some new things, like make sure that DDR can be doing his virtual pipe club live from the show floor on Saturday at the same time. Make sure he's got enough bandwidth there. Make sure he's got enough lighting so that you can see how good looking he looks, for considering the fact that he's 82 years old or whatever he is. And it still bothers me that he looks better than I do at his age. We're going to try and make sure and keep that smoking lounge room area open Friday and Saturday nights, at least till midnight, free for any of the show attendees to come and sit down in there and smoke, because the casino is not real conducive to having groups of 4 or 5 guys sit around in front of each other. The casino is talking to us about an outdoor area that they have that would be conducive for us, but the drink prices there may be at a little bit of a premium, and I don't think they'd be real happy with you walking into that spot with your bottle of beer that you might have bought at 7-Eleven, but I didn't say that. Get coffee at Starbucks. So we're working on some ideas. We're working on some stuff that will be interesting, new, and hopefully exciting. We also are working on some ideas where everybody that comes is going to walk away with a free little souvenir memorabilia thing. We are also working on a hashtag, and this is where the younger guys go, oh, okay, cool. And all of us older guys go, wait, that's that pound sign symbol on the phone, right? So we're working on stuff like that so that we can get the word out and possibly give you a way to share your pictures easily from the show floor. So welcome to the 21st Century Pipe Show.
This is awesome. Before we get any further, we're heading into the last 30 minutes or so of the meeting, and I wanted to make sure that people who maybe have tuned in a little bit recently to the watching it on the live stream, we're talking to Brian Levine from the pipesmagazine.com radio show, who's also now, along with his buddy Dave. How come I don't have a hat like that?
You didn't do the JDRF fundraiser, did you?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, these two fine gentlemen are taking over the production of the West Coast Pipe Show. And tentatively, again, Brian has cautioned us all not to rush out and book your plane tickets quite yet. Tentatively, that is the last weekend in October 2022.
No. 22nd and 23rd.
22nd and 23rd of October. Most likely it will be that way, because if the hotel's already said those are our free weekends, then
most likely it'll be that way, because we saw the group rates that they were going to offer us for the weekend after that, which was before Halloween. It was like, no, I'm sorry.
No, okay, so there you go. So, but I would recommend you put it on your calendar, that you make plans, because as Brian has just been describing, lots of new ideas, lots of bringing the pipe show phenomenon experience into the 21st century. I know that I'm going to definitely be there and representing the Virtual Pipe Club. We'll be doing our show from there. And the things that Brian's describing is going to make it so much easier. I'm probably also going to have one of those smoking rooms as a place where you guys can come and hang out. We'll see if we can get a suite up there if they have them. And so the Virtual Pipe Club will be hosting probably some coffee and bourbon. How about that?
Ooh, I like it.
So that'll be something we'll talk about more. Brian and Dave too, I'd love to get both of you guys maybe to chip in on this. Can you tell me what your vision is for the future of this show?
Go ahead, Dave, your turn. You get to talk.
Well, our vision is to just make it happen first, and then to grow it and be better connected than we have been in the past. But yeah, there's no, I don't see a ceiling. All I see is opportunities out there. And because I've gone to every show except for the first one. And it's really a lot of fun. Like I said before, if you want to see what a pipe show used to be like, this is probably the closest thing there is. So, and it's a lot of fun, and Vegas is a good value. It's not what it was, but it is what it is, but it's still a good value.
Yeah, and my vision is to make it the pipe and tobacco social gathering of the year on a regular basis. So kind of think of it as a big giant annual family reunion. And if we start getting big enough, pushing it out to events on Friday and Sunday, events on Sunday night, and just build it bigger and bigger and stay physically, although the virtual pipe club is absolutely wonderful, but stay physically connected with people, and at least once a year have a place to go where we're not shunned or chased away because, oh, you're smoking and you're going to kill my baby's baby from 4 generations in the future because I'm going to get third-hand smoke. Well, but just to create that social gathering, and at the same time create a place where you can come and learn about what tobaccos are available and learn about what pipes are available, and see, touch, and smell hopefully before you get to buy.
Do you have any I know that you've shared a lot of ideas with us already. I'm just wondering if you have some other visions or lofty things about how you're going to make this a premier event over and above what, let's say, Chicago, and I'm not dissing any other shows or anything like that, and I know that Brian doesn't do that either, but what is your I'm trying to avoid using the word vision over again, but what do you think is going to make the West Coast Pipe Show stand out as a premier and legendary event?
I think just the fact that we're going to reach out to a whole bunch of people that have never been reached out to before and never felt welcomed before, by providing places for YouTube channels to sit down and produce videos or record right there. A chance, by doing that incentivizes the guys that have the YouTube channels to come out. And I know many of you are like, NW Pipe Smoker or Mutton Chop Pipe Smoker or Bradley at Stuff and Things. Some of these guys would be great to meet in person, and you've never met them in person. Meet me in person and you'll never want to again, but that's okay if you want to. I'm like, Mount Rushmore. Okay, I saw it once. Great. Yeah, next. But the Grand Canyon, I mean, hell, you can look at that for years and never see the same thing twice. Just create that place and allow it to grow. Don't constrict it. If we have to, I've already got a target list of bigger hotels in Vegas that are going to be willing to hopefully possibly work with us. Because right now I think we're capped. We're taking the entire meeting space at the Palace Station. So if we get bigger, then we got to look at moving to a bigger hotel, which is even better for everybody, because then if you want different food options, there's plenty of other hotels to walk to. Yeah. So it's just, again, to be that big welcoming environment where everybody wants to come and everybody wants to be and nobody wants it to end.
Ooh, I like that. That speaks to me. Hey, Mike Buchler's just popped in over here. He has a question. He said,
yes, Mike, we love you, Mike.
There we go. Yes, we do.
Hi, Mike.
Have you spoken to the hotel about a smoking area for those who arrive early, like on Thursday? And have you asked about reopening the sports betting area to pipe smoking?
The answer was, Let me explain quickly the hierarchy of departments within a Las Vegas hotel casino. The number one most important department in the hotel casino is the casino manager, casino operator, the people that operate the casinos. The second most important person is the security person who oversees the security of all the money in the hotel and casino. And then you have the shift bosses for security in the casino, and then you have the pit bosses for casino, and then you have the people in the casino that are, the dealers and stuff like that. And then you get to the food and beverage manager, who's underneath that, and the retail manager and the hotel manager. Meetings and conventions falls underneath all those people. So if as Dave and I were talking to our convention sales lady, whose name her last name is Costello, C-O-S, not C-A-S-T-E-L-L-O. So I told her that's perfect. As I told her, we missed that Irish pub and then we missed that smoking area in the sports book. And she said, yeah, good luck. If she called the sports book and said, hey, my people want it, they'd be like, who are you? Yeah, sorry, no. Keep in mind, in a Las Vegas casino, a slot machine that's sitting there is going to make about $1,000 to $2,000 a day in profit. So the sports book is making a whole lot more than that. We are working on a couple of areas where you guys can go on Thursday night and sit and meet, and she's helping us with a couple of. There's one restaurant that the restaurant and movie theater's got an outdoor patio that is completely pipe and cigar friendly, or the 14th floor with the smoking rooms.
Awesome.
So, we're aware of that. We just can't afford to get the meeting room on Friday night or on Thursday, because that would run into extra rentals.
Yes, before we wrap it up, I have an announcement. This coming Monday, day after tomorrow, there will be a pipe trunk show at Barclay Rex in New York City. So if you're in New York, New Jersey area, it will be from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Italian pipe trunk show. There will be Ser Jacopo, Mastro Geppetto, Caminetto, Vitrati. So if you're in the area, feel free to pop up. Barclay Rex, 126 Pearl Street in Financial District, Manhattan. And also I want to add what Brian said. Yes, I totally agree that a successful pipe show, as well as any pipe event, successful pipe event or successful pipe club, is one that welcomes everybody. If you smoke Bonort or Tsugi Ikebana with original Bolton Cabrani, or if you smoke Prince Albert in the cheapest Missouri Meerschaum corn cob, you are part of the community, and we are all equal.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's really it. Missouri Meerschaum has been a big sponsor of the Pipes Magazine radio show since day one. They were the first paid ad on the radio show. So they contribute to the community. We respect anybody that smokes a Meerschaum. Yeah. Don't care. Just come. And know that when you do come there, you're around a group of people that are like-minded. And if none of you have met Dave in person, Dave's about the size of a buffalo, tall and wide and big. And so we've got our built-in bouncer. So anybody causes problems, they're going to get a Peterson up their butt and not the little pipe one. Dave,
Yeah,
maybe
I'm
I
usually
should.
one of the one or two biggest guys in the room, so I'm never hard to find.
Yeah, maybe I should change my last name to Cap, so that way it could be a Cap and Peterson production.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, we're heading into the final 15 minutes or so of the show. This is but don't go away, anybody. I always say we're heading towards the end there, and then people just like rush out the door. But I do want to just let everybody know that we're about to end for this week's meeting. And one of the things that you can do to keep these meetings, interesting and whatnot, is send us your ideas for some of the guest speakers that we want to have on the show. Also, places, we started this at the beginning of the year and it kind of fell off a little bit. I really want to bring it back, and that is your favorite brick and mortars that we can approach to do a virtual tour of. It turns out that one of my staff lives just down the road from Dr. Grabo. And so we're going to see if we can get a...
And wait, how did you find that out?
That's true, because we were just chatting and Brian goes, hey, Dr. Grabo's in your town. And she didn't know. So we're sending her over there to maybe do a walking tour of that. So yes, I want to give all credit where credit is due.
And I want to interrupt and say right now that this is such a great community that we've had several people that we've already talked to reach out and say we want to help out, including somebody who hosts this little gathering on a weekly basis, has volunteered his skills and talents and his people to help out. So a big thank you there.
I think it's a wonderful idea. I think that both Dave and Brian are going to make an amazing event for us, and we're delighted and excited. Like I actually asked Brian not to mention that we were going to help out, but
I didn't say you were going to. I said you offered.
We said you offered. Okay, so let's keep it real there. But yeah, I'd love to see a new breath of life into the pipe community, and I'd love to be a part of it, as I think everybody in the Virtual Pipe Club also would. So, I'll just commit everybody on their behalf to coming to the show. So, in the last few minutes here, what I'd like to do is once again open it up to any questions, thoughts, suggestions. Like Brian's, very receptive to ideas. He may go off and he and Dave will go, that was the stupidest idea ever. But in to your face, he's going to say thank you. So thoughts?
No,
and
I'm not. No, I'm not, because I've been in so many different board, meetings with tobacco companies that I worked for, and I always said there is no stupid idea, because at the root of it, something may come out of it. So if it's an idea, it's an idea. There is no qualifiers on it.
I always tell people, so this is cliche, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Of course there are stupid questions, but that doesn't make them not legit, right?
Yeah.
There could see something really fantastic out of that. So gentlemen, and also those of you over there watching on Facebook and YouTube, last minute questions for Brian and Dave about the West Coast Pipe Show, or anything else that you want to ask him, including, we did have one question I didn't ask earlier. Brian, any new Disney acquisitions?
Yeah. Let me show you. This I found on eBay, and many of you will recognize it. It is just a unused basic senior reamer, brand new, never been touched, completely clean. Even with the little short pipe cleaners, the part that fascinated me about it was that sticker on the bottom.
It's not focusing, but I'm assuming it says.
Let's see.
There we go. Oh, a little closer, a little closer.
Anyway.
Disney World.
Yeah, anyway, it says Walt Disney World, $6 plus tax.
Wow.
So just more proof that you could walk into the tobacco shop in Walt Disney World and buy a Hawk pipe reamer. And to tell you how old it is, it was made in Japan. So that was fun.
I think the $6 tells you all that you need to know for how old it is.
Yeah. Yeah, well, $6 at a tourist attraction, so that meant that it probably really sold for $295, $350 back then. And the case was just in such cool condition. I was like, dang. So, anyway, that was fun. That's about it. That's really new and exciting. The other stuff is kind of redundant. As I'm looking over at the collection, which is, I'll give you a little sneak peek. It's right there on that shelf with the Mickey head thing on the top. So there's a view inside the
Brian's been waiting the entire meeting to be able to do that once again.
I was actually thinking that what I want to do when we get to the pipe show and we open it on Saturday morning to the public is sit there and go, let's get ready to pipe show.
Awesome.
Yeah. Can we put that to a vote? I'm not sure, but
I vote no. I vote no.
All right, we're going to end a little bit early to this week to let everybody get back to work and let me go out there and shut my dog up because he's making the entire neighborhood up. Brian, Dave, thank you for being our guest today. Obviously, we're going to have you back again because you bring so much to the meetings every time you come. Also wanted to, sorry that somebody's trying to give me a call there. Also want to thank everybody else who was here in this group here. The incredible Cool Kids room here inside the Zoom room, which is an invitation for all of you guys out there watching on Facebook and YouTube or watching in the future. This is the place to be. Come on in on a Saturday. Here's where you can always get the link on at least Saturday morning early. I post it on all the Facebook groups, the VPC Live and the Virtual Pipe Club and others that still are okay with me posting the link to it. That's where you can find the link and you can come on into the Zoom room there. We don't post it on YouTube because when we do that, we get Zoom bombed by Pornhub, which is entertaining for Steve Spent, but the rest of us, we
Oh, that's right. The last time I was on, the last few minutes was quite entertaining and interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
for some people.
We try not to advertise that as part of what part of our agenda, but it does sometimes happen. But if you can't make it, obviously, to the Zoom room, watch us online. They're on Facebook and on YouTube, and we'll always welcome you there. In the last minutes of the meeting, I want to just remind everybody, mark your calendars. October 22nd, 23rd, 2022. If there's an update, of course, I know that Brian and Dave will let us know and post that, and we'll share it here on the Virtual Pipe Club. And I hope to see you at the West Coast Pipe Show. In 2 weeks, I will be hosting the meeting from the floor of the Chicago Pipe Show. So I hope to see a bunch of people there. And
I will photobomb you.
And Brian's going to be there to photobomb me. This is going to be great. That's all I got to say. Please, last minute, as I always say, not political, not telling people what to do, except to take care of yourself. We're just about out of the woods if only the virus would stop mutating. But whatever you need to do to keep yourself safe, wash your hands, put on the little stuff there. Some places still wear a mask, get the shot. I don't give it, gosh darn, what you do, but please keep yourself safe because I love you and I want to see you back again. And that's all I got to say. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Brian. Bye, everybody.
Good to see y'all.
See you next week.
Take care, one and all.